Hey everyone, welcome back. This is James Brumfield. So I just finished learning about two search algorithms, the linear search algorithm and the binary search algorithm. So I figured I would jump right in and try to utilize those skills to try to solve these problems. Now I just solved this problem. So what's different about this video is we're just going to use the internal compiler here to try to solve the problem. But before we do that, let's go through the problem. So Sonny and Johnny like to pool their money and go to the ice cream parlor. Johnny never buys the same flavor ice cream that Sonny does. That's superfluous information. We don't really care about that. The only other rule they have is that they spend all of their money. Okay, giving a list of prices for the flavor of ice cream, select the two that will cost all the money they have. For example, they have $6 to spend, and there are flavors costing $1, $3, $4, $5, $6. The two flavors costing 1 and 5 meet the criteria. So reading this, we need to search this array here, and we need to find two values that add up to 6. That's or adds up to any dollar amount. So that's what I got from that. So just from my knowledge of the search algorithms, this looks like a linear search, what we would need to do. Now, as I solved this was, I had to do some debugging to figure this out using one base indexing, So that was kind of giving me a little bit of problems, but, I ended up, once I saw the results that the compiler, I kind of knew what I had to do. But before we do that, let's go with the problem. Complete the ice cream parlor function in the editor below. It should return an array containing the indices of the prices of the two flavors they buy, sorted ascending. Ice cream parlor has the following parameters: the dollar amount and the array of cost of the different flavors. Okay, so this is our normal input data here, and I'm not using my IntelliJ down here to solve it. I'm going to use internal compiler. So all of that stuff is handled down here. But normally I would just, open up my IDE and do it. But I think, I wanted to use the internal compilers for a couple of reasons. To show you what it's like to use it. And also, it's not that hard of an algorithm. Like I said, this one line up here was giving me some problems, but I ended up figuring it out. And so anyway, so our goal is to finish this function. We need to return an int array. And our input is the dollar amount, the combined dollar amount, in the array of cost here. So let's get to it. So we need to return an array. So the first thing we need to do is create a temporary array. So we're going to say array. We are going array of cost of ice cream flavor cost. We are going to return. So since it's two people and there's two costs, so we need to create a temporary array of size 2. So we'll say int, let's call it temp, new int of size 2. This is the way we're going to fill with the indexes of the cost. So the way I solved this after I submitted it, you see how other people did it. Some people use hash maps, array list. My thought process, I'm going to use nested loops to go through this. So I'll explain as I'm doing this. So need a nested loop to check each value. And I'm not saying this is the most efficient way, but this, like I said, these are all my implementations. Need a nested loop to check each value with every other value in the array. Okay, so say for int I equals 0, I is less than the length of our array parameter, semicolon, increase I every time. So I is going to start, let me go back up, if we were just using this one example, I is going to start here, and then the next loop I'm going to create is going to start here. So this is going to stay constant for the outer loop, and then it's going to use this value, this value, this value, this value, and then the outer loop is going to change. And then it's going to go here, and while the inner loop is going to change to here. So it'll be 3, 4, 5, 6. So, but I'll show you as we're coding this. Okay, so that's our outer loop. We need to do an embedded loop. Inner loop starts at index 1. That's the index 1. So say for int, we're going to say j equals I plus 1. J is less than the array length, and we're going to go to the length of the array. Okay? Now all we need to do here, so we're going to do a comparison now. Test to see if values at indexes, I don't know if it's indexes or indexes, equal amount of money they have. So we'll say if the value at index I, so the value at the outer loop, plus the value of the inner loop, come on, if that equals our input here, a total dollar amount. So before I continue, so let's just say it's the first two. So I is going to be 0. I is going to be 0. And then this is going to stay 0 while this inner loop works. So it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up into the length. And if none of that is true, then we're going to increase this to 1, and this will be 2 down here. So if this comparison is, we're just going to put the indices in the temporary array. Place indexes in the temp array. So say temp 0, because it's a array of length 2. We're going to do I, because we're still working with this one, I plus 1, and then we'll do temp 1 is j plus 1. And we're going to return temp. If we get through this all these loops and we don't find anything, so let's make sure, we still need to return temp. We need to return the integer array. So just make sure this goes there, this goes there. So down here, return temp. So before, remember I said this indexing plus 1 was giving me problems, so let's just do it without this right here. And you could do a run code. It's when I press this button, it's going to send in sample test cases to see what we get. So my result is wrong. So this is what my code puts out, and this is what's expected. And they give you another test case. This is what my code puts out, and this is what I'm expecting. So that's when I knew. I'm like, okay, I need to. That's when I one index means. So that's why I was off by 1. So we do plus 1. Plus 1. So we'll run the code. And voila. It gives us the correct information. Now, when I already submitted this, but I'll submit the code again. Still running. So these other test cases I have to use, oh, does it show you? No. I have to use my, let me go up here, my points to unlock them. I don't want to do that. Just in case if I really get stuck and I need to see why my code is failing. Because I have done code when they have 30 test cases and sometimes my code is passing 17 of the 30 test cases. So I have to use my points to try to see why my the input that they're putting in is not working. So for something simple like this, I'm not going to show you know, I'm not going to pay the points to show test case 2 and 3 the data they use. But my result is correct. So, you know, I already submitted this, but we'll go to the next challenge, and that'll probably be the next challenge I work on. But as always, let me show you where to find the data. You go to HackerRank, algorithms, search, and that's the data right there. I didn't go through and code what this means because, you know, I didn't, that's not my code. That's the, you know, the people who come up with these forms, that's their code. But this is my code here. That's my implementation. But anyway, thank you for checking in. I'll post this online, and stay tuned for more coding videos from me. Have a good day. Thank you for tuning in.